What can you tell me about the precursors?
Hell, you probably know more about them than I do, but here goes. About 200,000 years ago, when our great to the nth grandparents were just starting to play with stone knives and bearskins, a star-faring species suddenly appeared on the galactic scene and spread like wildfire. We found evidence of their presence just about everywhere, from an orbital platform on Alpha Centauri to a stack of data plates in a cave on Pluto to some nameless widget found in a voodoo shop in New Orleans. And we never found a precursor body or even a picture of one. We can conjecture what they look like by examining the scale and layout of their equipment. Such an analysis indicates they were giants, say 5 to 8 meters tall and twice as wide. I don't know if they looked more like a brontosaur or an elephant. Anyway, about 3,000 years after the precursors made their dramatic appearance, they vanished. Poof! As far as we can tell, it took less than a decade to happen.
What could have killed them? What about other races from the ancient past?
You mean besides the precursors? Well, the only information we have is secondhand based on some research by a Chenzesu historian that I read at the academy. Zed-Surt-Sek, the historian, found some evidence that there was a group of alien races who formed an interstellar empire not too far from here about 22,000 years ago. The only species in this empire actually lived in our region of space was a race of rock-like creatures that lived in the Vulpeculae constellation. The presence of the hostile androsynth in that part of space severely limited Zed-Surt-Sek's research. He never even found out the race's name.
So we should head for Vulpeculae to research that archaeological line of investigation. That to be where the androsynth. So we'll do that once we've equipped the flagship a bit more. Is there any indication that aliens visited Earth in the past?
Yes, there is. Aside from the precursor relics we have found on Earth, often in museums mislabeled as modern art, we've discovered disturbing evidence of much more recent visitations. Perhaps you're already aware that during the mid to late 20th century, there were unaccountable UFO sightings as well as dozens of reported encounters with alien life forms. Although we can discount many of the reports as wishful fabrication or traumatic translation, the military authorities of the time kept a secret record of the incidents which were legitimate. In each such case, the aliens are almost identical in appearance. They have white skin and minimal facial features except for huge almond-shaped eyes, which are often described as glowing or luminescent. This description fits almost perfectly the ur-quan. In most of the legitimate encounters, the people involved describe being physically examined or modified by the aliens. In some cases, unusual pregnancies occurred, and in almost every instance, there were repeat visitations as though the ur-quan were doing checkups on their subjects. We never got the chance to confront the ur-quan about what they did to us and why. I wonder if we ever will.
Oh, it sounds like something to ask them if we ever meet them again. Anyway, this is fascinating, but I must move on.
Would you like information on any other aspect of history?
No more history.
Sure. Anything else?
Okay. I would like your input on how we can defeat the ur-quan.
Can you be more specific?
Where can I find the most useful, plentiful mineral resources?
If you have the patience, I would recommend you spend several months or even a year gathering mineral resources. You can find such minerals on almost any planet's surface, but the quality and density will vary depending upon the type of planet you're on. Base metals are probably the most common materials you'll find, but they aren't particularly valuable. You can find rarer precious and radioactive elements on metal-rich worlds such as Mercury. An old miner once told me that you could tell the relative quality of a planet's minerals based on the planet's color as seen from space. Remember the color sequence from good to bad? The miner had a mnemonic that went something like, very young orangutan could grow bananas perhaps rather well. It is also the case that mineral yields will be better at hotter stars. Temperature is related to the size and color of a star. Red stars are the coolest, then orange, yellow, green, blue, and the hottest stars are white.
Okay, so that's something to bear in mind when we're mining. And unlike many games with mining in them, many space games with mining in them, this mining minigame we can perform is actually rather fun. It's not just a minigame, and it works rather well without being intrusive. Anyway, how should I deal with aliens I meet in space?
That all depends on whom you meet, doesn't it, Captain? Well, in all seriousness, if you encounter the Ilrath, Bucks, Androsynth, or other hierarchy battle thralls, I wouldn't hold out much hope for a peaceful encounter. So if you feel you have the advantage, attack. The resources you will scavenge from the enemy's wreckage are well worth the effort. If you can find Alliance races who are in a position to help us, then you must convince them to join with us. Their assistance may be crucial to our success.
If you were in my shoes, what would you do now?
Let's see. You need to build up and balance the strength of your flagship. I would add thrusters up to, say, 5 or 6. Speed is essential in combat, but it would also pay off over the long haul in hyperspace. And if you prefer to avoid confrontation, nothing beats a great pair of legs. I would add turning jets for increased maneuverability. I would add enough weapons to defend yourself if you're caught without escort ships. You need more crew, at least 50 to make productive voyages into space. You need additional fuel, at least 50 units. Your weapons will be underpowered in combat if you don't have at least 1 dynamo. I guess I'd gather more minerals to build up a good supply of resource units.
How can we deal with the ur-quan?
Captain, I wish I had an easy answer, but I don't. The only way I can see of liberating Earth as well as the Alliance allies is to destroy the ur-quan and their armada of battle thralls entirely.
Okay. Commander, do you have any long-range plans to defeat the ur-quan hierarchy?
To defeat our enemies, we will need awesome strength, both in your flagship and the fleet, as well as the assistance of powerful new allies. Though combat will be unavoidable and sometimes necessary to achieve our goals, I'm certain your wits will be at least as important as your weapons. You'll need to explore this region of space, gathering resources and information wherever you go.
Okay. How can I find the ur-quan? Yeah, that's a good idea. We want to, charge straight on our enemy.
I don't know, Captain, but I suspect their battle thralls know more than we do, so I suggest you try to gather information from them, perhaps by force.
How can we attack the ur-quan most effectively?
At first, your ship will be far too vulnerable to permit frontal assault on the ur-quan. Even when your ship is at full power, we're faced with the reality that the hierarchy has thousands of ships. You cannot win the fight alone, Captain. You need allies. Also, towards the end of the war, when the hierarchy broke through the Corward front, we heard rumors that the ur-quan had unleashed some kind of super weapon which was unstoppable by normal means. You need to find out if that rumor was true, Captain, because if the ur-quan do have such a weapon, we'll have to find some way to stop it, or all our efforts are for naught.
Indeed. I think you, having seen the intro I made, will know exactly what that super weapon is. Just that it was only used against that Genjessu and Murnahum, so technically it's breaking the fourth wall too. Well, it's metagaming to know about it right now. Anyway, how can I make alliances, and with whom?
If you encounter an unknown alien race, proceed carefully and diplomatically. We need all the friends we can get, and we certainly can't afford any more enemies. Remember, Captain, with your precursor starship, you hold awesome power. But there will be situations when dealing with an alien race where a carrot will serve better than a stick. But first, you must determine what carrot the alien wants.
Okay. What is the fastest way for us to build up our strength?
You need to accumulate enough resources so we can build up your flagship and assemble a strong fleet. I'd also recommend that you acquire blueprints for other more powerful ships than our trusty cruiser. I suspect that aliens will not give you such prints unless you form an alliance with them.
Right, so we're going to have to find allies to give us better ships. Anyway, let's move on.
What else can we discuss? What else can I tell you?
Okay, we've gone through everything, I think.
Fine. Is there anything else you need?
Nope, not right now.
We shall await your return, Captain.
Very well, and we now go to the starbase scene. Go from the funky techno of Commander Hayes to the more relaxing theme of the